What's up, you guys? Welcome to this week's One Piece chapter review. And in this week's video, we're going to be talking about One Piece chapter 980. Now, we see Luffy overhearing some of the lower ranking members of the Beast Pirates talking about how the Oshiruko is disgusting, inedible, not worth eating, and how they're going to be using it as hats and they're using it for food fights. And this infuriates Luffy because he thinks back to his time that he spent with Tama. He thinks back to how the rest of Wano is living, how everybody's struggling just to get scraps, and how the food that they are eating is poisoned, and how Orochi, Kaido, and the rest of them, they knew about it. And this just sets him off the deep end, and he starts to go on a rampage. And to be honest, I'd be mad too. On another note, Oshiruko is like gold. Alright, Queen almost got killed by Big Mom because he told her to fuck off instead of sharing his Oshiruko. Lives are at stake here for Oshiruko. You gotta respect it. You can't just be wearing it as a hat, man. Zoro hears the fighting. He breaks his own cover as well. The rest of the Beast Pirates don't know who these two are, even though it's pretty clear who the fuck Luffy is. You're trying to tell me, in this entire One Piece universe, you don't know that that's Luffy. Who else do you know can transform their limbs to gigantic portions of rubber? Who says Gomu Gomu no and Gong Gong this and all of that shit? Like, who else do you know says that? But Apoo is smart enough that he notices both of them. He informs Queen, and he's just like, yo, bro, Udon Prison Mines was your turf, and they escaped. What are you going to do about it? Queen tells the rest of the Beast Pirates, I'm going to wipe out one of the Flying Six. That spot's going to be open. Whoever can capture Luffy and Zoro, you will be put as a member of the Flying Six. And this makes all of the gifters bloodthirsty, bloodlusted, everything. The pleasures, they're just drinking and chilling. They're just like, you know what? We know we can't even compete. Why even try? And I appreciate that fully. It's just like, if you know you can't compete, stay in your lane. It's not worth it. It's just not worth the effort. It's not worth getting knocked out for. If you know you can't, don't do it. But my honest opinion about this is, if the Beast Pirates had anybody that could honestly beat Luffy or detain Luffy that wasn't a member of the Flying Six or wasn't a calamity or disaster or Kaido himself, they would have already been a member of the Flying Six or a calamity or disaster. Like, Luffy stalemated Katakuri on his own with several handicaps, with all the shit that he's been through at Big Mom's territory. He stalemated Katakuri. Like, you really think anybody on your crew outside of the disasters is going to be able to stop him? Like, really? Really? Like, Queen must be hoping that the overwhelming numbers of the gifters will be able to suppress Luffy and Zoro. And I guarantee you that's not going to happen. You might have a situation like you had in Fishman Island, where Luffy unleashes a huge burst of haki and knocks out a bunch of gifters before he gets suppressed by a bunch of gifters. Bet on that. But Apoo starts attacking Luffy and Zoro, and Apoo is looking real powerful here because he slashes Zoro, he hits Luffy in the face with a concussive blast, and then he hits Luffy with an attack that is similar to what he hit Kizaru with at Sabaody. And Kizaru would have been cut in half if he wasn't a Logia user. We see this same attack KOs Luffy, and it causes Zoro to pick him up and fall back, only for Luffy to shortly recover afterwards. Now, we see Kid notices Scratchman Apoo, and he gets infuriated. Killer's telling him, we just need to go, man. We just need to go. Kid is just like, fuck that. This dude is responsible for everything we've been going through. He is the cause of all of the suffering we've had to go through. He's the reason everything falls apart. And he attacks Apoo directly. And it seems like the attack connects. And it seems like it's going to be doing some big damage on Apoo. And that's the end of the chapter. So, my after chapter thoughts are this. The dynamics in Kaido's crew is interesting. I think Kaido's crew on paper is stronger than Big Mom's crew. But I think Kaido's crew is more unstable than Big Mom's crew. And I say this because Kaido's crew follows meritocracy. You only get as far as your merits allow you to. And it's also survival of the fittest. You only hold your position for as long as you hold the strength to hold it. As long as you maintain the strength to keep your position, it's yours. If you don't have the strength to maintain your position against challengers, you lose it. And this makes his crew strong, but at the same time unstable, because there is no obedience to a chain of command. When you have people like King having to use Kaido's name just to get the Flying Six to come to these meetings or do things, then it just brings up the question, what if Kaido's out of the picture? What if Kaido's out of commission? What if Kaido has his hands tied and he can't talk to the Flying Six? He can't directly order the Flying Six. And the role of authority falls to the calamities or the disasters. Will the Flying Six listen to them? And if the question, or if the answer is no, then that puts the Beast Pirates in a very tenuous position, because the Flying Six are like the Shichibukai, the Seven Warlords, all right? We see how Mihawk, how he treats the Marines and the world government whenever they summon him to do something. He does whatever he is agreed to do by contract. He does not go above and beyond that. Like, he only does what he has to do. Outside of that, he's out. And I think that's how the Flying Six are to an extent. They will do what Kaido asks them to do. But if it's like the calamity or the disasters asking them to do something, they're just like, we'll do what we have to do, but we're not going to, bend over backwards just to help you out or to make your jobs easier. And considering how Queen is trying to wipe out one of the Flying Six, and the Flying Six have been actively talking about Queen dying tonight, that causes a plot point for Luffy and the Red Scabbards to possibly have an advantage, because they could be down one disaster or one calamity or one commander, more easy to say. And I think the Flying Six, I really don't see the point of one of the Flying Six being wiped out. I think it is a lot more impactful if Queen dies. And I say it would be more impactful if Queen dies because Queen is supposedly a heavy hitter. He's supposedly one of the top 3 commanders in Kaido's crew. And him being taken out would be an enormous obstacle out of the way. He was able to knock out Big Mom with Brachial Bomber. Although he got lucky because she was still kicking right after that move. She just randomly collapsed. So take from that what you will. But if he's out of the way, that's a big threat gone. Now, compared to Big Mom's crew is cohesive. It's fluid. It follows seniority. Katakuri, Oven, Daifuku, Parasparrow, all the older siblings, they have authority in the crew. If Big Mom is taken out of commission, then, as Parasparrow said, it falls to seniority. But it also is power-based. Katakuri is also a senior member, but he's also the most powerful member outside of Big Mom. But the branch, or the chain of command, is solid enough that people know who they follow. People know who they take orders from. So it's not like people are gunning for each other's spots. It's not like Parasparrow is going to kill Katakuri just to become leader. It's not like Oven or Daifuku are going to fight each other to become commanders or to become leaders. They're not. They're a family. There's no beef. There isn't that competitive animosity between them that is in Kaido's crew, right? There isn't. It's more of a familial bickering and, competition, but it's not like Kaido's crew where it's just like, hey, I'm willing to kill you for your position, or hey, I'm willing to take you out for your position. There's none of that. And on paper, Big Mom's commanders seem weaker than Kaido's commanders. On paper. Like, we have Jack sitting at 1 billion. We have Queen at slightly over that. And we have King at 1.4 billion berries. If I'm remembering the bounties correctly. You have Cracker sitting at around 850 or 860 million. You have Smoothie sitting around somewhere around 960, 980 million berries. She's just below 1 billion. And then you have Katakuri, who's at 1 billion. So Kaido's weakest commander is almost on par with Big Mom's strongest commander as far as bounties are concerned. Now, bounties aren't a direct gauge of power, I'd say. I mean, to be fair, bounties are not a direct gauge of power. Sometimes you can have a high bounty just from being purely destructive or chaotic, as Eustace Kid has shown. But, just on paper, the bounties are just huge gaps. Like, Kaido's weakest commander is 1 billion. Big Mom's strongest commander is 1 billion. And I'd say, as far as competence between the two sets of commanders, Jack sets out to do what he tries to do. He fails. He takes losses. Say what you will about this dude not accomplishing what he sets out to do, but he hits above his weight class. He went to Zou to get Raizo. The Minks lied through their teeth. They said, Raizo's not here. We would kill him if he was here. Jack didn't buy that. He fought them for 5 days. He fought them for 5 nights without rest. And then he pretty much nuked that island with a chemical weapon, tortured them. They still lied, and he still didn't buy it. He was like, I'm coming back. And he went after that, after fighting for 5 days, 5 nights, if I'm remembering correctly. And then he tries to go get Doflamingo. And he fails completely at that. But you have to consider what he was fighting here. He was fighting an admiral. He was fighting a fleet admiral that was a former fleet admiral. Vice Admiral Suru. Several other vice admirals, I'd assume, on the other battleships. He was outnumbered one ship to several ships. He was outnumbered with several other high-tier fighters. And you have to consider his devil fruit allows him to turn into a gigantic ancient mammoth. In a naval battle, that has absolutely fuck all uses. Alright? He was automatically at a severe handicap here. Automatically. And say what you want. This dude has balls of steel. Like, Jack's balls are just... I don't know how you can lift up the weight of Jack's balls in this anime. Like, this dude does not care who he's fighting. He's willing to fight, and he's willing to take the L. He's willing to take the L. The only person he is afraid of is Kaido. Like, that's something, man. People want to say, oh, you know, he got bodied by Shooting Maru. Like, I don't know. In the anime, they made it seem like Jack put up a fair fight. Jack gets hit with 2 nasty slashes from Shooting Maru, and I think that's all people see. Like, Shooting Maru managed to blitz Jack with 1 slash at the beginning, destroyed his sword, kind of caused Jack to cough up some blood, but Jack recovered from that. He fought back in the anime, got some slashes in on Shooting Maru. I kind of agree with people. Those slashes didn't really seem like they was doing much damage to Shooting Maru. If anything, they seemed like they were paper cuts. But, and he gets hit with another nasty slash from Shooting Maru in the anime, and it looks like that thing would have taken out Jack, but he still keeps going. He's not put out of commission. I'm telling you, if Inu and Neko couldn't put this guy out of commission for 5 days and 5 nights, that they've had back-to-back rest from, and he didn't, Shooting Maru definitely is not going to be able to put this dude out. He's not. And in the manga, there was a panel where he actually did inflict some serious damage on Shooting Maru. It's just people don't look at that panel. They don't look at that. They just see that, okay, Jack took some damage. Jack is constantly taking L's. Jack is the weakest commander in Kaido's crew. I'd argue differently. I'd say Queen is the weakest commander in Kaido's crew. And I know a lot of people might be looking at me sideways just like, what the fuck are you talking about? Queen managed to hit Big Mom with Brachio Bomber. He managed to knock her out. The knockout was purely circumstantial, alright? He managed to cure her of her amnesia with that attack. That's for sure. And he was going to land himself in even deeper shit if she didn't get knocked out by that move. But what was anybody really thinking was going to happen? All right? Like, if Big Mom didn't get knocked out for that move, Queen was going to die. Like, Queen was going to just straight up die. If he didn't get knocked out for that move, Big Mom would have massacred him. Anybody, I'm telling you, like, most people in the One Piece universe, you drop a gigantic dinosaur on them head first. This dude headbutted her with the full weight of his dinosaur form. Headbutted her. Not too many people are going to be able to shrug that off. Like, not too many people are going to be able to shrug that off. But it's a good feat for him, but I don't think it's enough. Like, I don't think it's enough. I don't think it's enough for me to say that he's stronger than Jack. Like, I know they talk down to Jack, and I know Jack is pretty much the whipping boy between him and King, but I think Jack is stronger than Queen. At least feet-wise. Feet-wise, he is. I think he is. Because Queen has done nothing more than knock out Big Mom, chain her up, and then pretty much take her to Onigashima. Outside of that, Queen has shown himself to be somebody that is flashy. He prefers using other tools and implements to fight his battles for him. He prefers other people fighting his battles for him. Like, he liked to put on a show with Luffy and Kid in the Udon prison mines instead of just directly neutralizing Luffy himself. And Onigashima, when Big Mom and Kaido were fighting, he was looking for an excuse to get off the island because he didn't want to be there with them fighting because he was a coward. Meanwhile, Jack and King, although all of them were kind of stunned that Big Mom was in Onigashima, they stayed there. They stayed there. Say what you want. They stayed there. Jack has the balls. He stayed there. King has balls. He stayed there. They didn't try to run away. When Big Mom and her crew was climbing up the waterfall, everybody else was losing their shit. You know, everybody else was panicking. Kaido was like, this is an all-out war. Get yourselves together. Like, get your shit together. King was like, I'm going to handle this. I'm going to take care of this. He got out there. He kicked Big Mom's ship right off the waterfall in one single move. And he literally neutralized an entire threat right there. He prevented an all-out war and neutralized a threat in one move. Meanwhile, Queen just looks on angrily and just like, oh, he's just showing off. Like, Queen just seems like a salty bitch. Like, Queen is just really not bringing anything to the table as far as a commander. He's almost like Smoothie, except he's almost like Smoothie. I'd say he's like Kaido's version of Smoothie. Like, he has this cool devil fruit, this Brachiosaurus, and he seems strong. He's able to create these plague bullets, and he seems like he's gonna be a threat and all of that type of stuff. But so far, all he's done is pretty much run away, sit by and watch other people doing his dirty work for him, or, you know, issue these challenges and rewards. And it's just like, dude, when are we gonna see you actually throw hands? Like, we saw King kind of throw hands. We saw Jack definitely throw hands several times. But when are you gonna throw hands? So that's why when I hear the Flying Six are gonna kill Queen, or they are looking for Queen to die, I'm looking for Queen to die. Like, I'm looking for a new Calamity. Give me a new commander. Also, that leads me to another point. Like, I feel like I'm so disorganized in this. I need to learn how to organize it. Another point I want to talk about is, like, what necessarily dictates what makes somebody a Flying Six member, because you're trying to tell me Hawkins and Scratchman Apoo are weaker than Page One? You're trying to tell me the dude that can literally create voodoo dolls and use other people's lives as extra lives for himself to avoid damage and transfer damage onto other people, whose Devil Fruit ability allows him to pull cards that can drastically increase his strength or the strength of others or create confusion in an army. You're trying to tell me this dude doesn't wield the power to become a Flying Six member? You're trying to tell me that a man who can transform into a gigantic dinosaur, a souped up velociraptor pretty much, is stronger than him? You're trying to tell me the dude who can transform his body or his limbs into instruments and use sound waves as a medium for attack, who almost kind of caught an admiral slipping. And if he wasn't a Loki user, would have freaking bodied him right then there in Savity. You're trying to tell me that a dude that could transform into a souped up velociraptor is stronger than him? Like, come on. Like, Sanji kind of gave this dude the work. Sure, he survived Sanji's hit, and sure, he was kind of walking around unfazed afterwards, but that's different, man. That's like blunt force. Like, Sanji was using like blunt force moves. We're talking about like voodoo dolls. We're talking about sound waves. We're talking about things that aren't physical blunt force that you can just easily shrug off after a while. Like, Zoan Devil Fruit users have immense durability and high pain tolerance, but like, what are you gonna do to a dude that can literally transfer pain onto you? Or literally, what are you gonna do against sound? Like, it doesn't matter how physically strong you are. If somebody can use sound against you as a weapon, what are you gonna do against it? So I'm thinking, like, we know Kaido's crew is heavily Zoan and Smile based. So I'm thinking like the Flying Six are all Zoan Devil Fruit users. So far, 2 of the 6 of the Flying Six are Zoan Devil Fruit users. Ancient Zoan Devil Fruit users at that. We know all of Kaido's commanders are ancient Zoan Devil Fruit users. I would like to see one of the gifters actually be in the Flying Six. I would like to see someone in the Flying Six with a Smile Devil Fruit or a Smile Zoan, because Smiles have been hyped up since Punk Hazard. They've been hyped up in Dressrosa, and now that we're seeing Kaido's crew, we see that the gifters are just fodder. And, you know, sure, it's better to have somebody that can transform into an animal or something and have like this extra added strength to them than just an average fodder person, but these gifters are not that much stronger. And I don't know, like, on paper, his crew, even the fodder, is stronger than Big Mom's crew, I'd say. But I feel immensely disappointed in the Smile Fruit itself. Like, it was hyped up to be like, oh, you know, artificial. This is the next big thing. And then we see these guys, and they're just like Frankenstein horrors. They got hippopotamuses coming out of their stomachs. They've got like lions for crotches and stuff like that, and bat ears for like bat wings for ears. And it's just, I don't know, man. Like, are we ever gonna get a Smile user who can actually control their transformation like an actual Zoan Devil Fruit user? Are we ever gonna get like a Smile user that has some sufficient strength that's not fodder? Somebody that we can actually see fight against like Zoro, Sanji, one of the Red Scabbards or something. Can we please? Like, the only chance we really had to see that happen was Killer, and we saw that he was a failure, so there was our chance there. I mean, come on, man. Like, are we ever gonna see anything? Like, that's what I'm looking forward to. But I want to see what some of their abilities are in the Flying Six. Like I said, my theory is that they're all Zoan Devil Fruit users, but I could be wrong. But if they're not all Zoan Devil Fruit users, that begs the question, what dictates who becomes a Flying Six member? Because Hawkins is strong. You're not going to tell me Page 1 is stronger than Hawkins. You're not going to tell me that Page 1 is stronger than Scratchman Apoo. So is it just like you have to have fully assimilated into the Beast Pirates to become one, or what? Because Hawkins is a headliner. We know the Flying Six is the 6 strongest headliners. So does that mean like fuck Vassal Hawkins or what? I don't know. I'm this is 24 minutes long. We've been rambling really long, but if you guys have stuck around long enough to watch this entire video, or, you know, at least hear some of these points that I've been making, tell me your thoughts about the Flying Six. Tell me your thoughts on the commanders. Tell me your thoughts on how you think Big Mom's crew stacks up to Kaido's crew. Stuff like that. Bye.